fucking it up. I be sitting on the couch, just fucking it up. Hey, it up, sis. Fucking it up. I be in my own space, just fucking it up. Hey, it up, sis. Just fucking it up. You're getting money, feel way better than busting it down. Drop down, bust it, wait, got that bust it, oh shit. Chuck E. Cheese me, please give me a toast dance. If you want me to fuck it up like it's broken, see I got no competition. If I'm playing, I'm winning. And these diamonds be hitting. Party and Harry Griffin. Wanna sweet in the silk pussy like a tenant. Need a deposit in that first month. You gotta ring it, bad bitch, and that can't be the big. That's right. Standing on the couch, I know these jealous bitches hate it. Ass so big, that shit look like it's inflated. Starting all these bitches the way me and Iggy made it. You know I'ma fuck it up, sis.
Welcome! Well, hello again. It's Wine Wednesday.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
But more importantly, it's Women's Month, baby. Yes. Listen, we shit on men 24/7, but this is doubly dose spaces.
But we really do like women.
We do it for the girls, gays, and theys.
Yes.
Okay.
This week, we are talking about all the women that have really changed the wine industry for the better. You know, they're just women that never get called out, and we're giving them their chance.
Yeah. All right, well, our first women in wine that we are highlighting is from the history is from one of my favorite wineries in Napa Valley, Stag's Leap. Not to be confused with Stag's Leap Winery. There's actually a whole feud that they've had over an apostrophe.
Oh, do tell.
So it's Stag's Leap that I used to work for. Oh my god, my ex keeps coming up in all the videos. But Stag's Leap is S-T-A-G-S apostrophe. And then Stag's Leap Winery is, you know, the traditional plural apostrophe. Okay?
You know, the ownership of
Syntax. Yes, okay. So not to be confused, but this is Stag's Leap Winery. And basically it was owned by Horace Chase and Minnie Chase. His wife.
Chase, like Minnie Chase, like Chase.
In my mind, when I'm inspired to do a British accent, it comes out perfectly. But on camera, I can never do it.
That is true, you did it perfectly today.
The best one that I've done is when you serve me wine. Thanks!
Thanks! Like, why do you sound?
So Horace Chase and his lovely wife bought and opened Stag's Leap in 1893. Baby, that's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
All right, but they basically sold the winery to Mrs. Frances Grange, and I found two different dates, whether it sold in 1909 or 1913, but around that time, they basically sold the winery. So a little history on Mrs. Frances Grange. She married this rich banker, you understand me? You know, fish giving money in Washington, D.C., and they basically said, fuck this, and moved to San Francisco, and he was a famous banker there. So they decided with their monies, you understand me, to buy this winery. Now, a little bit about U.S. history. So they bought the winery between 1909 and 1913. Then Prohibition came along in 1919, okay? No alcohol.
That's tough.
It's prohibited. So when Mrs. Frances Grange and her husband Clarence got Stag's Leap, she got really into the winemaking process and studied viticulture. Unfortunately, during Prohibition in 1924, her husband passed away, as they sometimes do. So she was like, what do? I got this big ass winery. I'm not allowed to, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to be too respectful. More of making an observation. She was like, what am I gonna do with this property? So she actually turned it into a resort and like a hotel for the socialites of California.
Ooh, that's sexy.
Yeah, so she basically allowed the winery, or she set up the winery to survive Prohibition by turning it into a, you know, exclusive bad bitches club where you can like rent, you know, for $15 a night, which back then I guess was thousands of dollars. But I always found her story so interesting, inspiring, because a lot of times, especially when you read about women in wine in Napa Valley, it's like their husband died in the middle of Prohibition. Now they're left with a wine cellar that they're not allowed to, you know, sell. So, so she was very innovative, and listen, to be a woman by herself in that time, when her husband died in 1924, women had the vote for 4 years. Do you understand me? So she was in a era.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
to
She was able to pull it together, which is pretty fucking cool if you ask me. So look her up, Mrs. Frances Grange, the first GM basically of Stag's Leap.
Is Stag's Leap still a resort?
No, but it is one of the most exclusive wineries in Napa Valley. Whereas like you have your Sterlings and Behringers. Sterling takes about, on a really good weekend, 1,600 guests. That's a lot of people.
In a pandemic?
In a pandemic. But Stag's Leap only takes 40 people a day, and you have to book way in advance. And the current winemaker, Christoph Hubert, oh my god, I feel like I mispronounced that last name. There you go. He is a sweetheart and he is an amazing human being. So I would love, love, love to go to Stag's Leap when things open up again.
All right. The next woman in wine is Marianne Graff. In 1965, she became the first woman to get her bachelor's in fermentation science, which is now known as enology, at UC Davis. And UC Davis is, it's just an amazing school for winemaking. Anything enology, viniculture, they've got it all.
It has one of the few master's programs in winemaking in the country.
In the country.
In the country.
In the country. She was the first woman to serve on the board of directors for the American Society for Enology and Viticulture. God, she is doing big things. Big times. She was appointed the winemaker at Simi in, it's not Simi, did you know that?
Yes, and it hurts me every
What is that? Cement?
It's called Simi Valley. It's a location in California, and it's also a winery, and
It's
they
Simi
pronounce
Valley.
it. Yeah, but it was always a thrill in Costco being able to see Simi because, you know. But she was appointed the winemaker at Simi in Sonoma in 1973. 6 years later, she left Simi with Marty Bannister to co-found Vinquery.
Vinquery.
What is Vinquery, you ask? It's a highly successful business that specializes in providing analytical and consulting services to the winemaking industry. That is really cool.
That's really, really cool.
Because you need someone, definitely when you're starting out to make a winery, you need someone to sort of be your touchstone for what's, you know, what's good and what's not.
Yeah.
And I definitely know a lot of people, a lot of families that have tried to start wineries, and they just can't get it off the ground because they don't realize how much work goes into it. It truly is, when you buy a winery, it's not like you can make grapes and they go out the next year. A lot of people that just have money want to start.
It's true.
Yeah,
right?
start wineries and think that it's going to be really easy. Think that they're going to be able to acquire the winery, put grapes in, and be able to make wine the next year. It's not that at all. First of all, you have to find a winemaker that you trust, which is the first major thing. But then it's going to take a good 2, 3, maybe up to 5 years to be able to finally bottle something that's worthy of bottling.
Yeah, and you also need a good viticulturist or someone who is going to go out there and see the health of your grape and your vines. I think that's one of the largest things, especially in Napa Valley. Like, their plants, they breathe the air the same as we do, so the smoke inhalation, the droughts that they have, it definitely impacts. So you might have a great yield of grapes the year before, but then things have happened. And I think it's really interesting because when I was at Treasury, one of the coolest departments I thought was they gave projections about, you know, this is how much we think it's going to yield this year based on, you know, the fires that have happened. And that really does help you change your game plan.
And every step of the wine process like requires expertise. So it's like, it's not something that you can just pick up as a hobby, right?
Exactly.
Right? And just hire people left and right to manage your winery. You have to, you know, have people that are knowledgeable and, and have experience.
And it is farming labor. Like, one of the, I went to, I want to say this 18 acre or maybe more. I think I'm lowballing it actually. Vineyard. And one of the things that they dealt with was, like, you know, animals eating their grapes. And one of the coolest things about Napa Valley is you could actually rent hawks. There were people who trained hawks to basically fly in vineyards, and they would scare away the mice and other vermin. Hopefully not kill them, just scare them.
Just a scare.
Just a scare.
So another woman in wine is Josephine Tyson. She is one of the pioneering women in wine in California in the United States in Total. Her and her husband established Tyson Cellars with 147 acres in St. Helena. And unfortunately, Right. Unfortunately, she did lose her husband to tuberculosis a few years later. So she kept the company alive and running, business as usual with Tyson Cellars, until she sold it in 1895 to Italian Swiss Company, which was a flourishing wine company in Astastic, California.
Fantastic.
It's Astastic, California. If you don't see that on the wine label, it's not genuine. Okay. So the vineyard still stands there today, but it is now part of Freemark Abbey Wines. So her vines are actually still standing today, and they are used by a woman winemaker, Anne Colgan, to make her Tyson Cab Sauv. So go pick up yourself some of that. Female owner and female winemaker. Let's do it.
Yeah.
The next woman titan of industry is Elizabeth Shaw Hood and her husband William Hood, settled in Glen Ellen in 1848. That is a long ass time ago. Previously, William Hood came from Scotland. And he was a carpenter by trade, you know, and he had to switch it up a little, you know what I mean? He made a fortune during the urban boom in San Francisco following the gold rush, and in 1851, he purchased a 30 square mile tract of land called Rancho Guyoco, on which stood a mountain that is named after him. Fortunately, here's the problem, I just can't get through it.
I can't feel bad for these men.
Unfortunately, William was committed to a local asylum. Who knows why? Maybe it was the quiet land of Napa that really just got him.
Drove him crazy. You know what? The deafening silence.
Well, Eliza took over the winery in 1877. This date makes her the first and earliest known woman to run a winery in California. Okay, Eliza! At the time, the estate vineyard was entirely planted to the mission grape, which I'm not really sure, what does that mean?
I don't know.
So that maybe they were growing a very specific type of wine, or maybe it wasn't even a wine that really grew, or maybe it was even a grape that didn't really grow the type of wine that you should really be producing. I've never actually heard of the mission grape.
Yeah.
So maybe that was more of like a table grape, and maybe she needed to switch it up and go into more like viticulture grape. Eliza hired Auguste Drioton, a French viticulture expert who had previously published a book on the handling of phylloxera. Phylloxera was a huge issue that was going on in not only Europe area, but also in America. And they seemed to find that the American rootstock was the thing that was going to be able to not inhabit phylloxera, correct?
Yeah, the American rootstock had basically developed an immunity to this disease that was going around. And to this day, all vineyards have American grafted roots. So, made in America como quiera, okay? Donde quiera que tú estás, América está contigo. Okay. Listen, I'm not pro-American. Take that out.
Take that out. The only place we're pro-American is wine.
Yeah, and that was just jokes, man.
Just jokes, man. But yeah, American rootstock somehow developed the gene to be able to not be affected by phylloxera, so all over the world it's going to be American rootstock is actually planted in the earth, and then whatever vines are then grafted onto those roots.
So that's incredible. That's pretty cool. See, there needs to be expertise at every level in the winemaking process.
Exactly. With his help, she grafted the vineyard over to a wide variety of Vitis vinifera, which is the species of grape that you can get wine from. Every single grape that you can grow wine from is Vitis vinifera, and it's just different genes of that grape. Yeah. Well, the Eliza Hood Cabernets, Rieslings, Semillons became widely acclaimed, and her brandy was successful as well. She put that work in. She put that work in. Over time, production increased to over 100,000 gallons of wine and 5,000 gallons of brandy. Shit.
That's a lot. That's a lot of production for her time.
That's a lot of production for her time. And in 1897, she sold her winery to the Italian Swiss company as well, and then moved to San Francisco, where she lived until 1918.
First of all, as a person of color, anytime something has colony in it, I like it.
And now you put Italian and Swiss.
And now you are, I don't even know the word, gentrifying. I don't know, it's white people. You are overtaking First of all, wineries from these women?
Why did these women sell it to you?
We're gonna have to do some research on this goddamn company
And we're
gonna come back.
expose Italian Swiss colony. Alright? I'm sick of it.
Well, these have been some extremely successful women back in the day, you know, we're talking 1800s to early 1900s, okay? Women that were at the forefront of the industry, trying to get their part in before any man, you know, after their husband died, they just really worked for it. You know what I mean? Like, that seemed to be the moral of these stories. They really got a chance to shine, you know?
No shade.
No shade.
No tea.
No tea.
So we have also been working on something special for you guys. We've been working on this for a hot little minute, but it's our Jibbadat website. So this is going to be a place that houses all of the yummy recipes that you've either seen on our stories or on actual Instagram, as well as an order page. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. No more SurveyMonkey. We have our own order page. So stay, it's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner. It's just there. You can taste it.
It's really streamlining the process for all of you.
Yeah.
So we're really excited. We feel like it really encapsulates what our company is about, and we're excited to show you some of the stuff that we've been working on. And it'll be a place that you can get all our recipes and, you know,
everything to do with us three.
Honestly. We're a bad bitch collab if we haven't said before. We're just very excited to be able to bring you a different place to be able to just check up on us, you know, and maybe just like slip in an order or two. Just like get something for your mom, like we've said.
Let us know if you guys have heard of any of these women in wine, if you know of a woman in wine that you would like us to highlight, or just put us on. And as always, let us know what wine you're drinking, or if you
Just drinking, baby.
Cheers.
Cheers.